Hey guys, how's it going? This is Rob of Novakast back with another video, and with this particular one, we're going to be responding to the Onion Boy. Now, something I want to mention is, with the stream of him copyright claiming people's videos, or the theme, sorry, I wanted to try a little bit something, because first off, we're going to add a little bit of something to our commentary this time. So I went and found this video. At first, I guess it was unlisted on his, I believe it was Onision Encore, and then he re-uploaded it to a second channel, which is his main channel, Onision Speaks. So, probably to try to make extra money, who knows, like that's gonna work. But anyways, so I took the video, and once again, because I'm making this transformative Onision, I know that's a foreign concept for you, but it's transformative. I went and edited the video, edited a lot of the garbage out, which was him just fucking around, making, or cleaning his house or whatever. And then him talking about a celebrity, but whatever. So, with this video, it is a response as well as a parody. I'm going to add that now. A parody to the Onision videos. So, without further delay, why don't we go ahead and respond to Baby Onision. Yes, that's what I'm coining him now. Baby Onision. By the way, for those who don't believe me, look, see? Baby Onision. Want more proof that he's a baby? Because he's drooling. He's got his first baby tooth. And he likes to cry. Like a lot. Like way too much crying from this baby. Alright, so with that out of the way, why don't we go ahead and get started, shall we?
Hey guys, you know that phrase, go big or go home? Well, I'm tired of going home. So from now on, I'm going to try to go as big as I can for most every single video that I do. And that means a lot of, crazy stuff for you.
Oh joy, it's so good to hear that there's crazy stuff coming from you, Onision. Like, truly. Now, quick question, will this be different from your general selection of shenanigans coming from you? Like shaming people, pretending that support or harassment is support to somebody in a situation, or trying to claim that you're not copyright claiming people's videos to try to silence them, collecting photos, sharing inappropriate pictures to your Patreons, because I don't think there's anything more. Actually, there's probably, you'll come up with something. You're kind of like the llama from that one video, Carl. Hey, Carl.
But today, we're going to discuss a lot of things. We're going to discuss copyrights. We're going to discuss a creepy stalker who has been stalking me since the day I met my husband.
When she originally was your wife. Now, when it comes to the quote-unquote stalker, we all know he's talking about Mr. Epsilon. Well, unless it's me, in which case I'm flattered, but whatever. Stalker would imply that he is harassing you in a sort of aggressive, threatening, or illegal manner, which Repsion hasn't done any of that. In fact, anybody who has done videos on you have never done anything like that, where it seems aggressive, harassing, or illegal in any way.
I'm going to discuss other things. I might forget some of these topics. I might not even mention them later on. But I also want to talk about how my life is a mess. And you may be wondering, like, how does your life get this way? Like, how are you constantly having to clean up everything? And the answer is this is a working thing we got going on. I'm working 24, no, that's not true. I sleep sometimes. So I'm like working, 12 to 16 hours a day.
Yeah, sure, you spend a lot of time on these quote-unquote videos. I have a feeling a monkey could probably spend around 2 minutes for the same amount of content that you produce.
And, today's the day where I just say enough is enough, and I just start throwing stuff away. Okay, straight up, my history with copyright is a crazy one, really.
Oh yeah? Crazy how? I mean, to the point where people have been false claiming your videos because they don't like talking about you? Oh, wait, that is something that you would do.
And what I mean by this is I've been claimed countless times by countless people. Like, people will look at my videos and they'll say, hey, this has my copyright material in it, and they'll hit me, and they'll hit me hard, unfortunately. And something I want you guys to understand is that when someone tries to copyright claim you, a lot of times right now they use a system called Content ID. So for instance, I had a lot of TikTok videos on the Bro channel, but unfortunately they were copyright claimed, like most every single one of them. And I would appeal some of them and say, hey, I think this is fair use because I didn't use 100% of your creation. I didn't deter traffic from going to your site. I didn't trash you or anything. I wasn't hurting your business. I wasn't doing anything that basically affected your copyright whatsoever.
So keep in mind, everybody, this is a quick observation. This is something that Onision feels that everybody who has talked about him and made videos about him is doing, where they have been messing up his business, messing up everything involving his life, his channel, whatever, when really we're not doing that. We're ultimately not doing that. If anything, he is the one that's causing the most trouble for himself when he makes these videos that end up damning himself, ultimately. We're just responding to his bullshit. If anybody's at fault, it's him. Because he can't keep his damn mouth shut. Not to mention doing stupid shit for the sake of drama. After all, Onision has to make those YouTube bucks somehow.
And it was, a review or otherwise a parody or something that would make it, reinventively entertaining. And of course, they would always say, no, it's not fair use, and they would strike me down. And when I say strike me down, I don't mean like copyright strike me, because that would only happen if I were to appeal it again. If, for instance, I did a TikTok video reaction and they claimed me, and I in response said, hey, this is fair use, and they said, no, it's not, and then I said, no, yes, it is, and they said, no, it's not, and then I finally again said, no, it is, I'm really mad about this. Then they could either give me 7 days to say, okay, you know what, I'm not going to appeal this, or 7 days to remove my video, or I would get a strike against my channel, my whole YouTube channel, if I was actually that confident in my comprehension of fair use.
So at this point, I'm kind of iffy on this because I feel like it's mostly not about the copyright system when it comes to people not wanting their content on Onision's videos. I think it just, well, they don't want their content on Onision's videos. Because a lot of people know who Onision is at this point, and what he's for, and what he's capable for, or at least with, for trying to make videos. What he's willing to do, so to speak.
But unfortunately, I did some research on fair use, and it turns out that fair use is very gray. And what I mean by this is there have been cases, legal cases, where the judge will say, this is actually not fair use, because first of all, you don't necessarily have the rights to monetize something. Like, I can't necessarily monetize those TikTok videos because they're not my original creation.
So, Onision's gonna hate this little answer, but if they are using your content in a transformative work, like, let's say, editing it in a way, or giving them responses, or giving commentary, kind of like what I'm doing, it becomes transformative, and therefore protected under the fair use, and if they wanted to, yes, they could monetize that content. They are protected by the fair use law.
I may be able to criticize them or share my opinion on them and so forth, but actually running ads next to them, that seems to be pretty debatable. And maybe that's what they were thinking when I appealed these cases where they copyright claim my videos. I would say, hey, this is fair use, and maybe their response was, yes, you can use it, but you can't profit off of it. Because I would be using it. I would be using it fairly. I wasn't getting stricken for these things because I didn't push it so far where they'd be forced to strike me, or essentially voluntarily strike myself with how many appeals I would have had to file. But it's not necessarily fair monetization.
How is it not fair? I mean, ultimately, again, you edit a video, you put commentary response to it, it becomes part of your video, therefore transformative. And you can make money off of that. I'm not saying you should do that, like, just that should be your only intention of doing that. I mean, for me, look, I'm not making any money, which, again, joke's on you, fucknut. It's all transformative. So, again, if they want to make extra cash, not saying that not saying that should be the only reason for making videos like this, they're allowed to do it. Why do you think so many gamers on, let's say, YouTube, when the whole gaming thing became popular, made money They were using works that weren't even theirs, but they still added commentary, let's plays, or let's say responses. Commentary and responses and reactions to the games as they played them, or different parts of them. So it became a transformative work. Now, over the years, especially with some companies, they've become more lenient due to the whole fair use law. But overall, that's all it is. It is fair use, and when a person uses another person's work, as long as they are giving commentary, reaction, responses, documentation, or let's say if they're schooling people with what's going on, doing it as a lesson or using it as a lesson, it becomes transformative. So this whole thing where you say that people can't make money off of your content is bullshit. Especially if they're using it.
You know, profiting off using someone else's content, that's a little bit more gray. In fact, it seems that fair use is most protective over educational content and not so much just like commentary and parody and so forth like I've done.
Okay, I know some people are going to get mad at me for saying this, but don't trump yourself as commentary. You're harassment. You harass people. That's what you do. You're not commentary. You like to harass people. Which is probably why people were against you and decided to copyright claim your videos when you use their content.
So the question kind of becomes like, what kind of content do you want to make? Do you want to just be the type of person who takes other people's content and comments on it? Is that really inspirational to you? Or do you want to do something that's a lot more original and awesome that can never be copyright claimed? And the second option actually sounds a lot better to me because it's kind of depressing to put a lot of work into something and then just have it claimed. And then you're like, well, crap, they kind of had the right to claim it.
Not unless the content was fair use, therefore you can try fighting it. In which case, usually, when the company sees your dispute on it, they usually take the response, or at least the claim, off, realizing that your content is fair use. Then there are times where you have to fight the claim when they disapprove of your dispute. Which, we'll go into that in a second.
Unless, of course, I wanted to spend thousands of dollars on a lawyer and then go to court and then try to explain to them how I, with my limited knowledge of fair use, am somehow justified when it's simply not that simple.
It's actually very simple, whether you are following the fair use guidelines or you're not. Whether you're just simply taking their video and not using any commentary, pretty much adding onto it, that's not fair use. Therefore, they can claim you for something like that. But for other people where they add commentary, reaction, responses, whatever, then they're okay. And like I said, usually some people end up having to fight that. And usually they win.
Like, for instance, there was this case where somebody was, like, making Disney grotesque. Like, they were, I guess, making very, very gore versions of Mickey Mouse and so forth. And the judge decided that it wasn't fair use. Because obviously, you drawing gore Mickey Mouse, and I guess maybe they were profiting off of it, that doesn't help out Disney in any way. In fact, it could only hurt Disney. And when you have something that you created that people are just perverting and turning into something like horrifying, especially children's cartoons and so forth, you can kind of see how the judge would be like, no, you're actually just being a jerk and you're trying to hurt Disney, or so it seems. So no, it's not fair use.
Okay, no, that's a totally different thing entirely. By the way, I really wish for your video that you would actually give us a link, because some of us might consider what you're saying is bullshit about this case, because I tried looking it up and so far I haven't found anything. Please leave it, if you guys found this, what about what he's talking about, leave it in the comments down below. I'd love to read it. But overall, you realize that in a sense that is also a transformative work. I mean, look at DeviantArt, where people draw like pretty much hybrids of different like characters or franchises. It's transformative in a sense where they are creating their own creations. They're letting their imagination kind of run wild. As much as I don't want to kind of defend gory Disney imagery, they're allowed to do that. It's in a sense freedom of speech. They can do that. And by doing something like that, that would be something that would just be destroying or trying to stifle their freedom of speech.
Like, a lot of people don't understand, good faith is a huge part of most any weighing in the legal system. If someone knows that you have good intentions when you use someone's content, then you're going to be way better off in court, most likely, just based on whatever searched, than, say, somebody who just wants to make Disney look terrible and make their cartoons look terrible and just make people depressed. You know, like, nobody really wants to see that except for twisted minds and people with sick sense of humor. So me, occasionally. I do have a twisted sense of humor.
That's kind of putting it lightly.
But overall, like, with these cases where people copyright claim me, I've just kind of let it go. I've decided to make content that is just better and more fun for me to make, because I really don't think anyone deep down, they may on the surface be cool with it, but deep down, I don't think anyone wants to see someone just whine and complain all the time about all of their copyright issues, which is why I haven't made video after video after video complaining. I'm sure I've complained at one point or another, but that was like years ago.
Okay, so at this point, he's referring to us. Myself, Repsion, Mike and Actor, everybody who is, or at least he has copyright claimed. And honestly, why shouldn't we, have an issue with that? Your claims on our videos are false. And in the end, because a lot of us are deciding, you know what, fuck it, we're not going to let you silence us, we're going to fight this, we end up disputing it, it gets disapproved by you, which honestly, I think that should go through YouTube and not the creator itself that we have to dispute with. And then if that dispute gets rejected, then we end up having to appeal it, and if that doesn't work, then we end up having to put a counter notification for the video, which, by the way, that takes over 14 plus days for your channel, or at least your channel's video, to be down, as well as having a copyright strike on your channel. But I will tell you this, when it comes to stuff like Onision, where it comes to the whole lawyer thing that he keeps bringing up, I didn't have to pay jack shit for a lawyer, because I put a counter notification on one of my videos, because I pretty much knew that it was under fair use law. And for the entire 14 plus days it was down, I got no letters, no emails about any court order or lawsuit or whatever by Onision. And by the time ran out, dear Novakast, in accordance with the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, we've completed processing your counter notification. The following videos have been restored unless you have deleted them. From the YouTube team, which I really wish that there was other ways to contact them instead of getting these emails, waiting for emails like this, or using the stupid Twitter thing for Team YouTube, which half the time, or at least 90% of the time, they don't fucking respond to. Seriously, Susan Wojcicki, if you ever watch this, actually get something set up where people can call on the phone about their channels, so that way, when it comes to shit like this, it can be dealt with faster. That would be really, really awesome. I know I hate phone services where you have to call somebody to try to get help, but honestly, I feel like that's the only way to go, especially with YouTube and all the problems that it has.
No, I think you guys would be much happier if you just saw new content from me that was enjoyable, and not just me cursing the name of all the music companies and all the TikTok associated companies.
You realize why people do it though, right? Why people will, curse out the names of the companies and or individuals that abuse the copyright system, is so that way if people, or at least other people, are having a problem, then there is some awareness to it. Abuse of the copyright system is one of the biggest issues on YouTube. A lot of people have to deal with it because a lot of companies abuse the copyright system and don't understand what fucking fair use is. Onision, we're looking at you this second. But overall, the reason people do it is because they want to share their experiences with the copyright and address issues that they have. They're allowed to do that. It's called freedom of speech, something that apparently you don't understand.
I mean, the good news is, in regards to like copyright claims and so forth, the future of YouTube, it's looking up. Okay, like as far as the people who are claimed and the people who claim and so forth, there's a huge win coming, and I'm not allowed to talk about it other than saying things are looking good for creators of both copyrighted content and people who use other people's content and so forth. It's basically an everybody wins scenario. So stay tuned for that. I can't tell you how I know it. I can't tell you why I know it or anything like that. I can just tell you that things are looking up for everyone, both claimees and claimers. So that's a good thing.
I'm pretty sure, Onision, if you keep false claiming people's videos when they're under the protection of fair use, it's not going to be good for you. More than likely, if you continue to do so, people are going to build a case on you for the false copyright claims. And what you're doing, by the way, where people end up having to fight it, where their videos are down 14 days at a time because they talked about you, that would be considered as harassment or attacking somebody's channel, by the way. I want to point that out. Is we end up having to risk our channels for the sake of proving that our copyright is just. And by the end of it, all of us are pretty much like, fucking sue me, Onision, because he keeps going about how that Onision should sue everybody for, this, that, whatever. But by the time that everything is settled down, when we, last the 14 days, and it proves that we were in our rights to use the content, then he runs away. So, Onision, if you're going to keep making these false claims on people, just understand that you're going to get a lot of shit down the road. And once again, it's not because of me, not because of Repsion, not because of Mike and Actor, Jack and Glenn, Eugene and Cooney, whoever. It's because of you.
All right, so the next thing that we should discuss is my stalker. A long time ago, like 7 or 8 years ago, this dude found out that he could get views from putting my name in the title and just talking about me in just the meanest way possible.
Anybody that's Onision or his fans that look at his content would see that, but anybody else would see that you have an individual who is concerned about some of the behaviors that he is committing in his videos and probably in his private life that he posts publicly, and wanted to give their concerns.
But unfortunately for him at the time, I actually was getting pretty popular. In fact, I started getting like 100,000 to 300,000 views per video. So it didn't really look good on him to continue trying to destroy my marriage, like by contacting my to-be in-laws, where he tried to convince them that I was some kind of horrible monster.
Oh my gosh, are you really still lying about that? That wasn't Repsion, that was the Amazing Atheist. Around that time, when it came to you and your now husband, they were the ones that contacted your in-laws. Another individual who has issues with you.
When in fact, I mean, look, we're still married happily. We're really happy.
So says the guy that has repeatedly brought other women into the relationship. And right now, you just sound so happy, don't ya?
Anyway, so this stalker guy will pretty much say anything he can to get views. So it seems like in the video titles and so forth, they're very clearly misleading.
Oh, hi there, Kettle. Name's Pot. Have we met?
And no one seems to care that they're misleading. Like, I want you guys to imagine you have a YouTube channel or something like that, and every other day you see this same methed out looking pale, pasty dude.
Oh, that's rich. You're really going to try to attack his looks to try to shame him? Really? Are you really going there? Especially since you have a bad case of rosacea? I mean, let's be honest, and I know I don't want to go there, but you kind of look like Freddy Krueger on his best day. That's what you look like. But even then, that's probably an insult to Freddy Krueger.
who's going on yet another rant about you for anywhere from 10 to like 30 minutes. It's crazy. And while you don't actually sit down and watch these videos through, you do have to hear about them a lot. Like people write you and they say, hey, so-and-so is harassing you, so-and-so is attacking you yet again. And what's annoying is the same guy constantly tweets at me on Twitter. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I don't talk to you. I'm not interested in you. I don't like you like that. Like, get out of my life. And what's bizarre is this guy actually apologized at one point when I started getting really popular. He apologized. He's like, who am I to judge your relationship?
If that's true about the apology, then you know what? That's just about the relationship shit. Not about the other crap that you pull on a daily basis.
It's like, that's the whole point, you know? Judge not, lest ye be judged, or something like that, right? Like.
So what are you trying to say, Onision? Are you trying to say that you are not accessible to be judged, that we can't criticize you for your actions?
People I've gone after in the past, turns out I'm right about. Like I said, a certain someone, who we'll be discussing later in this video, had ED, and while I encouraged her as a person to like get better and so forth, I also educated people on how dangerous ED was. Turns out I was right about her and she wound up going to rehab and now she's doing so much better.
No, you actually weren't. In fact, with your constant harassment towards her, even though she asked you clearly to not talk about her anymore, you still continue to talk about her, harassing her, making your quote-unquote parody videos on her, and more than likely caused more damage that was already done. Look, Onision, I know you hate it when people say flat out no. Like, I mean, no means no. I mean, I know you don't understand that. I mean, Adrian, Eugene, and Cooney. But still, no means no. If somebody says, don't talk about me, you stop talking about them, regardless of whether it's quote-unquote supportive or whatever. You said you weren't going to do any more videos on her. That means you shouldn't have done any more videos on her. And by the end of it, you still continue to harass her, claiming that what you were doing was supportive, which more likely caused more damage than needed to be dealt towards her physically, mentally, and when it comes down to it, just everything involved.
And there's also Jacqueline Glenn. I talked about Jacqueline Glenn and how she was in denial, how she would not listen to me despite the fact that I was right about this guy who was going to cheat on her, and then he wound up cheating on her, and that guy was social repose.
Okay, really, Onision, who's going to actually listen to you when it comes to dating advice? Especially since, you know, you were cheating on your wife or your husband with Billy when that whole thing was going on. So who's going to really listen to you? Especially when you act like a complete scumsuck. Not to mention the fact that you have repeatedly shamed Jacqueline Glenn when she made videos against you.
And you know, maybe these are like fleeting thoughts. Like maybe there's some psychological reason why Jacqueline Glenn to this day lashes out at me, despite the fact that I'm on relatively good terms with her. Like we apologized and we grew, and I thought that everyone was getting better, but then she'd make video after video about me just being like angry.
Well, one possible reason is more likely because you made a video about how she, when she had her quote-unquote boob job, it wasn't on her terms, claiming that she had daddy issues, that she had no control of how she felt or did, that it wasn't even her decision, and so on. That could be one reason. It could be another reason, well, that you were claiming that she was plagiarizing works and so on, which you're kind of guilty to that too, Onision.
I don't have beef with Jacqueline Glenn. I'm fine with Jacqueline Glenn, but she has beef with me. But she never like actually says, hey, is this true? Or hey, I have an issue with you about this. Like I would appreciate an email. Wouldn't you guys appreciate an email if someone has a problem with you, just to email you that you have a problem with them?
Usually yes, but since people know that you're a creepy stalker fuck, nobody wants to, get in contact with you when it comes to situations. Case in point, the voicemails you sent to Adrian.
I know I've reached out to people and I've said that I have a problem with them, except there are the rare instances where there needs to be like a PSA, like don't date this guy, he's gonna cheat on you, nobody date this guy. And some people would perceive that as mean and ugly and none of your business, but if you're right about someone doing that, then aren't you trying to help people from getting hurt? And I think that's maybe the biggest problem with people who stalk me online, give constant unwanted attention, is they think they're right about me, yet here I am in a happy marriage. Here I am in a happy life. Here I am with friends and family that love me, that I love spending time with, and there they are, just being angry and alone with other angry people. In fact, there are screenshots that heavily imply that the guy who's stalking me has a girlfriend who is an anti-Semite. Who is an anti-Semite in 2000?
Damn it, Wade!
Anyway, so every little thing I don't do, and sometimes kind of do, winds up being a video title on this dude's channel. It's like, I don't understand how a person can respect themselves when literally you have X amount of recent videos and more than half of them are about one person. You know, like you have, let's say, the last 20 videos, right?
I'm sorry, but where are you getting these numbers from? Honestly, when it comes to the content, Repsion has rarely talked about you for the past couple of years. I mean, ever so often when something serious happens, where you do something incredibly fucking stupid and heinous, then yes, he does do a video on it. But it's not as often as you want to claim it to be. Unless, of course, he's talking about me. But, again, he was talking about the whole girlfriend thing as well as the letter, so it couldn't be me.
And 13 of them are about the same dude. I think you might need therapy. I really do.
You make jokes about rape, killing children, harassing people, as well as doing other heinous shit. You are the last person to claim that somebody needs to go to therapy.
But what I really, really don't understand is how people support people like that in the thousands. Like, imagine somebody is really, really mad at anyone, really. Any one person who is not a political figure, because that affects us, that actually has a direct impact on our own lives, but just someone who has nothing to do with you, who wants nothing to do with you. Anyone who obsesses over someone like that, you don't want in your life. And the reason you don't want someone like that in your life is because one day you might be in the crosshairs of them. Like, I myself used to have super toxic behavior. It was bad. It was super bad.
First of all, those who talk about you aren't really in your life. We're on the internet. We are making our videos and posting them on YouTube, giving our responses to you. We're not associated in your life whatsoever. We're not coming to your house and saying, hey, I have some baked cookies for you. We're not doing anything like that. And more likely, we wouldn't want to. And second, it's honestly kind of cute that you think that your behavior has improved.
Not quite as bad as this freak guy who's obsessed with me, but pretty bad. Let's talk about Eugenia Cooney already. First off, people say I am obsessed with her.
Well, by your definition, if you think that making a ton of videos on somebody is quote-unquote obsessive and harassing, then yes, it is in that term, because you've made a ton of videos about Eugenia Cooney, obsessive and harassment. Can I just quote that it must be really nice living in that little glass house of yours. It must be really nice.
And people say that, I bully.
You have, and you still do.
And this is what I'm confused about. First of all, I make fun of everyone, including myself. So if I dislike that person, then I super hate myself. But then people say I'm a narcissist, which is confusing because obviously I don't hate myself if I'm a narcissist, right? I love self-depreciating humor, and I love humor that takes the wind out of, everyone's sails, because life is too stressful to be serious.
But you're missing the basic principle of this. She has formally asked you to stop, after you even said that if she asks me to stop, I will stop. And you didn't. You continued with video after video after video on Eugenia Cooney about her body, making these really disgusting parody videos. Which, by the way, your comedy is shit. So, overall, the basic principle in this is she asked you nicely, stop. Don't make these videos about me. But you continued to do so.
But no, how I really feel about Eugenia Cooney is I don't love her, I'm not in love with her or anything like that. But if she died, I would sob hysterically. I would be more miserable about her dying.
I feel like the only reason you would be sorry is because you would be sorry the fact that you can't exploit her for money, which is what you've done repeatedly with your videos. And it's been proven time and time again when people noticed ads on your quote-unquote supportive videos
than I would about people I've actually met. And I think part of it is because I've actually invested so much time and energy into Eugenia Cooney getting better. Like, I've really wanted her to get better for such a long time. And again, I know people are going to be like, but you made that video where you joked about her. It's like, God, talk about not being able to take a joke.
I'm pretty sure a lot of people who respond to your content can take a joke. But the jokes you made about her were horrendous. They were offensive. And they were not at all supportive to her situation. You only added to the problem.
I'm just saying, though, if you think I don't care about Eugenia Cooney, you don't know me. Every single time I find out she's doing well or that I see a picture of her doing well, I feel like the world is just so much better. But what I will say, and I know this is going to upset a lot of people, this is going to upset so many people, I think that Eugenia's last picture was hotter than any Andy Biersack photo I've ever seen in my life. Just saying it. She, in her healthy state, is one of the most gorgeous people on planet Earth. I need to stop. This is so creepy, Greg. You know, I tell you guys too much. I really do. And this is going to wind up being some anti-Onision video in a minute. Like, someone's going to use this against me. But, you know, it doesn't... Screw it.
Yeah, first of all, I will say that with the video, I did kind of cut it because he mentions right afterwards talking about Lainey for about a few minutes, so I cut that out. But overall, it's very weird, at least to me anyway, that he would make that sort of statement towards Eugenia Cooney. Now, some people are speculating that he only cares because he wants to, you know... but honestly, when it comes to this whole situation, she told you no, so stop talking about her. That's pretty much the basic principle. And when it comes to the copyright claiming thing, Onision, everybody who has talked about you has their right to talk about you. Everybody who has made their videos responding to you, if they're monetizing their videos, by that point, when it becomes transformative, they are allowed to make money off of that content. They worked on that content to respond to something that you did. So, you can cut this shit that because people use your content, they're not allowed to use your, or at least make money off of you. Not saying that that is the basic principle of why they're doing it. It's just what I'm trying to say. But I will say this too, that if we were to play by your rules and every time you used a video of ours, then we had every right to claim your video and take the money from it. And I'm sure you wouldn't like that now, would you? But, whatever. Alright, so that's the response to Baby Onision. What are your thoughts? Leave in the comments down below. Like, share, subscribe. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. With that being said, this is Rob of Novakast signing off. Have a good one, and take care. Peace. Oh, and P.S. Onision, go fuck yourself.